All right. Hey guys. So we are moving on from Unit A. You all took, Unit 1, Part A. You took a quiz this week, and I'm super stoked. Most of you did an excellent job, and I'm super happy and proud of y'all. We are going to move on to Unit 1, Part B now, and so you do need this note guide. This is just a fun little video to help you understand operating systems. If you're at home, you'll have to play this separately from this video. But you do need this note guide to follow along to get your notes. Okay, so Part A was all about the actual physical computer, and so Part B is going to focus more on the software side of it. So what is inside of a computer technology-wise that makes it a computer? Okay, so you got two software categories, and those are operating systems and apps. And so they are both very different, but they both have a very big job when it comes to the information processing cycle. So if you remember back to that little graph where we have input and processing, output, and then storage, both operating system and apps play a really big part in that. And so this is that video that I said was separate. You'll have to watch it separately. I can't get your video to play where you can hear the music and watch it at the same time, so you'll have to watch it separately. So when we talk about an operating system, we're saying that it is the most important software that runs on a computer. So in my lab, you all have been working on those HP computers, and they have Windows operating systems. And so what that means is that it makes the physical computer and a Windows computer. Just like a Mac has Mac software that runs on it, that makes it look like a Mac. And without the operating system, a computer is useless. So you don't have a computer without an operating system. And so when we start a computer, this is called booting. So if you ever hear me say the computer is booting up or your computer needs a boot, it's just that it means that it needs to turn on. And in the booting process, events happen that helps it become ready to process data. Okay, so it's getting the computer fired up and ready to do what you need it to do. During the booting process, you have several things that happen. The computer is going to run a test to make sure that everything's working correctly. Is this piece of data working? Is the internet working? Is the mouse working? Keyboard? All of that good stuff. For attached peripheral devices, do we have a scanner? What about a printer? Do we need to make sure that our insides is ready to work a mouse or a keyboard? And then it's going to load the operating system in that booting process. Then you have operating system software. And so this is the master controller on your computer. Again, you can't have a computer without the operating system, okay? So you don't have a Windows computer without the Windows software. You don't have a Mac without the Mac software. And when we talk about the operating system, it's going to manage the memory, storage, how it processes things, software and hardware, okay? So the operating system literally makes everything run, and without it, you can't do anything. And you have different types, right? So operating systems are typically installed on your computer. They come pre-made, so when I buy an HP, it already has Windows loaded. When I buy an Apple computer, it has Mac OS loaded, right? So they typically come installed, and most people use the one that it comes with. So now here's the catch. I can change the operating system. I can have an Apple computer and put Windows software on it, but here's the deal. Why would I want to do that? Right? Like I could just buy a Windows computer if I wanted it to run like a Windows. But you can, some people do. At my church, they have computers like are in my lab, but they hook it up to run like a Mac. And that's some people's preference, but I think it's kind of silly. So that's what this is saying. You can upgrade or change your operating system. And so then you have three most common ones, and that's going to be Windows, which is what we have in my lab, your Mac, which is what we do have like in the library and in some other computer labs in the school. And then we have what's called Linux. This is also common, but it is way less common than Microsoft and Mac. Okay, so Microsoft and Mac are the two big ones. So when you look at it, almost 90% of the world is going to use Windows. And so that's why I going back to that very beginning question where I said, why do you think I teach you Windows and not Mac? Or why do you think I teach you Microsoft and not Google? Well, it's because the world outside is using computers that I have in my lab. And so I want to prepare you for that scenario. All right, and then you have GUI, which is a graphical user interface, but we're going to call it GUI, which is kind of funny, but it's going to be an interface that allows you to communicate with your computer. GUIs let you use a mouse to click on icons and menus. So think about GUI almost like the technology that makes your mouse work the way that it does. So then you have icons, which is an image or a graphic that represents a file that can be opened. And so icons would be like the Google Chrome icon that you see on your desktop when you log in. That helps you get to the internet. That's an icon. And a menu is a drop-down list or table of options that can be opened or selected. And then we have this fun word called WYSIWYG, which stands for what you see is what you get, and it's used to describe what you see on your monitor. It's going to be very similar to what is printed, right? So what I see on my screen is what I'm going to get if I were to print a document. Okay, so that was all about operating systems. So fairly short, fairly easy. Fill out your note guide and submit it for credit.